Okay, let's see. Anybody here? Not yet. Well, there's one. All right, let's see. David and Valentina, if you could, and is it Jorge or George? If you could put on your, Jorge and George, if you put on your video.
There we go.
Thanks, David. By the way, David, you get the award for the earliest to the meeting.
Oh, good. Thank you.
You checked in a little earlier than 10, I think. There we go. Jorge, is it Jorge or is it George or?
Either one works.
What do you prefer?
Rodriguez?
You prefer Rodriguez?
Yes.
Cool, I can do that.
Or Rod.
Or Rod, okay, great. And Valentina, if you would put on your camera just because it's a meet and greet and I'm feeling lonely. Because it's that sort of thing. Now it's up to you. You don't have to, but if you can, I would appreciate it just so we can see each other's faces.
Well, right now I don't have a camera, so I cannot put.
Okay, so that's not going to happen. Okay, Valentina, that's a perfectly good explanation for that. Okay, we're going to wait just a little bit to give people. Yeah, we've got 3 more people that I haven't admitted yet, so I'm going to admit folks. There we go. Great. Good, good. And let's see, Marco Gill is coming. I think I've admitted him. Oh, wait, no, there we go. So we're going to we're just giving it a little more time. Oh, look at Marco. He's looking a little peaked. All right. And Rod, your graphic was great too. It's really nice to see.
Wait, what?
Your graphic when you don't have your camera on is intriguing.
Oh,
Marco, if you could turn your camera on, we're doing that wherever possible. Though I'm going to miss the gerbil or hamster or whatever that is. Just a nice opportunity to see each other's faces. We're a class together. It's our meet and greet. We can actually see everybody.
Yeah, I'm setting it up.
Yeah, I secretly hope that I am teaching a hamster. That would be so cool. All right. Hey, Levi, welcome aboard. Connecting to audio there. Okay.
Hi.
Hi, Levi. Welcome. Okay, so we're just waiting a few more moments and then we'll get started. Let me grab one thing. I'll be right there. Pay no attention to the blank space on your screen. I'll just pick that. Okay. Okay, let's see. Oh, we got somebody else. We got a Jackie coming in. What is that graphic that Jorge has? He has a kind of, I don't know, sort of a ninja cat suit wearing guy with sunglasses. And I think he's got a cerveza in his hand there.
yeah, it's just a cartoon I was making just for Monster Hunter.
That's your own cartoon creation there?
No, it's just a fan creation.
Oh, okay, cool. Okay, Jackie is in the house. Excellent. Cheers. All right. Let's see. We got, let's see. Wait, what did I do? Let's see. I accidentally did that. Okay, good. Okay, so we're gonna just give it one more minute and then we're gonna get started. What I'd like to do to get started is to have you all introduce yourselves by telling us any background you have in art, two-dimensional, three-dimensional, video, graphics, computer, anything, any way that you're involved in art, ceramics, cooking, dance, poetry, whatever you do or have done. And then the other thing I'd like you to do is make a comment about your last 18 months of COVID experience. There may be something positive that's been going on. There may be something not so positive that's been going on, something that strikes your mind as intriguing about your COVID experience. I think it's all intriguing. It's all crazy, non-precedented experience. So yeah, just what's happening for you in relationship to that idea. And Marco's working on getting his screen back, and Rodriguez is working on getting his screen back. And so since it's a meet and greet, so that's what we're going to do, and we're going to start in on that. I don't see anybody else showing up just yet, so that's good. So what we're going to do is I'm just going to go in the order of my screen, which means all of you are different in terms of where your screen shows up. For my screen, David is the first one up. So David, so just any background you have in art and some COVID commentary there.
I did graphic design for 3 years in high school, and I want to get into like doing 3D assets for games and stuff like that.
Mhm.
And so I thought this class would be real good for that. Well, I don't know. And what was the other question?
Some COVID experience.
COVID experience.
Mhm.
I mean, I've mostly been inside of my house.
Uh-huh.
I don't know. I've been making more money with work. It's I don't know.
Okay, well,
It's,
those are positive.
yeah.
You know, that whole thing. When you say 3D assets for video games, is that what you're?
Yeah.
So those are like 3D modeled graphic elements?
Right. It's like just literally anything.
Right.
Right.
No, I think this class is good for that, because what this class does is it kind of breaks down the anatomy of what works in a three-dimensional design object. And so all of that translates into the virtual 3D. The more you can pay attention to these kinds of elements, the more your virtual is going to look realistic, I think. So I think it'll be helpful.
I think so too.
All right. So next on my screen is Madeline. So Madeline, again, you're telling us about your experience in art, and if you have any, none is required, and then you're telling us some COVID experience.
My experience in art, I play the cello,
Mhm.
and I took a few digital design classes.
Mhm. Did you take those at Solano?
Yes,
So was that with Rachel?
yes.
Great. She's wonderful. All right. All right. So, and any experience, positive or otherwise, about COVID that you can share with us?
I guess I just had a lot more time to do experiment with new things.
Yeah. I've heard some I was listening to a podcast and one person said, I really got to meet myself for the first time when you're with yourself 7 days a week. It's a whole different experience. So great. All right. It's nice to virtually meet you. Francis, you're next up on my screen.
Sorry, can you hear me? Or I'm Francis. Sorry, can you hear me? Or
I can hear you.
okay, yeah, sorry. I was in a meeting with my counselor the other day, and I had to bring my mouth up to my mic. It's like, okay, Zoom.
Right.
Yeah, sorry. My name's Francis. I've taken a few art classes here in Solano. I've taken beginning painting, and I took your ceramics class, and I've taken illustration. In terms of art, I'm just kind of like feeling out what I still want to do in
Mhm.
terms of digital and studio, but like when I'm in my personal time, usually I just draw like fan art of video games that I enjoy and whatnot.
And who did you take ceramics from?
It was like it was with you a couple. I forgot which semester specifically. It
Oh,
was,
so a while post
Yeah, it was like
pre-COVID, back when we
yeah.
could actually meet and work.
yeah,
Wow.
as in I've taken your class.
Okay,
Yeah.
great. And some COVID experience you've been having, Francis?
Yeah, it was kind of a meeting of like, where were you when it happened? I was still in, Solano, and I remember I was in my political, I think it was a political science class, and we had like a test, and it was like, oh yeah, this might be like our last meeting, and then I get the text and say, yeah, like I think I had two face-to-face classes, and they said, oh, it's like we're not meeting in class anymore, and we just had to transition everything. And
Right.
yeah, in my retail job, I work at like just a simple Big Five sporting goods, and yeah, our store closed down for a month, but then but I guess we would consider it a necessity by California. So so I was just back to work, so it just kind of felt normal, just but with a mask on, and it was interesting. It was interesting for the first few weeks, like, hey, just we're all cosplaying like like mass, and then we were all just cosplaying as mass, and then it was just kind of back to normal with like some lesser hours and some more.
Okay. Yeah, it sounds familiar. All of these, I've been in my house. Yeah, a lot of this sounds very familiar. Levi, you're on.
So, I've taken like 3 of the ceramic classes at Solano,
Mhm.
and this summer I took the Adobe Bootcamp classes. So
Great.
that's my background.
Great. Let's see. So some COVID experience?
I feel like my friend group got really like close over the quarantine, because like they're the only people that I actually like see and talk to.
Yeah, that's great. My wife has definitely made very close affiliations with people that meet weekly online, or they distance in the backyard or something. So, but it's been a very conscious effort. Let's see, we have one more person coming to us. Tracy's going to join us. Okay, so yeah, I think that's a really nice way to say it, Levi, that your friend group has kind of coalesced a bit. That's great to hear. All right, Tracy is joining us. Hey, Tracy. So what we're doing now is we're just introducing ourselves by telling everybody what we're doing. I'm sorry, what we've done in art, our background in art, in anything, painting, drawing, music, cooking, dancing, whatever it is we do. And then we're talking about some COVID experience. So that's what we're doing. And let's see, next up is Jackie on my screen.
You serious? I gotta say something? What is it about? School?
What's that, Tracy?
No, I was saying I didn't know that we had to do introductions. I just got into the meeting, so I didn't even hear what you said.
Yeah, so we're doing simple introductions, just telling everybody what background we have in art, and then something about our COVID experience, positive or otherwise. So that's what we're doing now. So we're about halfway through, and Jackie is up next.
Hi.
Hey, Jackie.
I so I've been drawings for like since middle school, and like right now I do like life drawing like twice a week. So like that's like where my like work is at right now. And
Okay.
yeah, and I was like with COVID, like I'm immunocompromised. So like it's sort of like revealed like who like who like really cares, I guess,
Uh-huh.
about like people who are like who don't like fit into like the mold of like the hardy worker able to prop up prop our system.
Right. So you have to be super cautious, I imagine, and you stay home. Can you get vaccinated?
Yeah, I've been vaccinated.
Okay, that's great. But you still have to really guard against contact, right?
Yeah.
It's got to be that sounds very frustrating. Yeah. Okay. Well, it's good to have you here and good to meet you virtually. Just a quick, Shauna, we're going through and just doing a simple introduction where people are talking about any background they have in art, no matter where it is, whether it's painting, drawing, ceramics, dance, cooking, music, whatever it is, what their background in art is. And then then we're talking about any experience we've had in COVID, positive, negative, or otherwise. So that's what we're doing right now.
Okay.
So right now, we just heard from Jackie. We're going to hear from Rod now. Rod is in.
Well, for high school, it's just a graphic designer in LA, just selling, not really getting much money. Joined the military, did ice sculptures as a cook. And now I just haven't been doing much art. I've just been working at home. Ever since COVID, the beginning, I made a shit ton of money, but now we're like close to the end. Now I'm broke as fuck.
Mm-hmm. And you made ice sculptures in the service?
Yes,
So where was that happening?
at Washington State.
Wow. Do you have any pictures of that?
Yes, I do.
That'd be cool if you would post them in the introduction exercise. I'd love to see what you were up to.
Yeah.
That's very cool. Okay. So and so now you're out of the military?
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, I think this class will be an interesting range of things that you can get involved with making again. That's great to have you back in the art. Good. So now Marco.
Yeah.
You're up next, and so something about your experience in art, and then something about your COVID, anything COVID positive or negative or otherwise. And I don't know if you can or how it works, but currently you are horizontal, you're vertical, you're kind of sideways on the screen. And I don't know if it's just a turning of the camera or it's okay with me. I mean, it's kind of cool.
Yeah, I'll adjust it for the next Zoom meeting.
Sure.
Yeah, I don't know how to fix it right now. But
Okay, that's great.
but yeah, my art experience, I've been taking a couple classes. Sometimes it's like a mix of like education I take from Solano and also just looking at YouTube tutorials to do my own thing. And I'm focusing towards a major of illustration and graphic design.
Mhm.
And I dabbled in like traditional painting, charcoal, and also working more towards like digital 2D designs and stuff like that. Yeah.
Great, great.
Mhm.
All right, that sounds really intriguing. And your
Mm-hmm.
COVID experience?
COVID experience. Yeah, it's likewise with most people just staying at home. I am an essential worker, so that's like the only time I really go outside to do work. And I started working more full time. So since COVID started, and yeah, now it's like all my communication now it's just through online. Like I need to talk to my friends now. Instead of hanging out, we just talk through through social media and everything.
Can I ask what essential work you do?
I work at a chocolate factory.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now I'm really bumming that we're not face to face.
But yeah. Mhm.
So yeah, chocolate factory. Okay, awesome. So, and I love the fact that we live in a world where that's defined as essential.
Mhm.
I think that's a good thing. So
Yep.
very cool. So for those of you who just joined, we are going through we're introducing ourselves by talking about any experience we have in art, whether that's painting, drawing, ceramics, sculpture, printmaking, music, dance, cooking, anything. So we're talking about that. And then we're talking about some experience in COVID, positive or negative, that we've had. So let's see. Next up is Tracy. I'm just going by how you show up on my screen. Everybody's different, but there's Tracy. Okay, Tracy.
Okay, there it goes. I was trying to get off of mute.
Cool.
Okay, so I don't have any professional background with art. However, I must have some sort of hereditary gene because I'm quite the artist as far as just hand sketching and picking up quickly on things. The reason why I'm taking the course is so that I can enhance my skills to help better myself as a music artist. I do R&B, hip hop, rap, and I can sing. But I use the art to create like album covers and all types of artwork to fix up my websites and things like that.
Awesome. So you're a performing artist.
Correct.
And do you have live gigs? I mean, it's been a bad time for live gigs, right?
Right. So right now, no, but I'll be getting into that. Right now, it's just I have music on digital platforms and YouTube account that you can subscribe to if you're interested by just going to the Instagram account, which I've put it on within the introduction.
Oh, okay. Put in the introduction and maybe just drop it into the chat while we're talking here and we can go check that out. That's awesome, Tracy.
Thank you.
One COVID experience for you, I can imagine, is suddenly gigs are not available. But any other COVID experience, positive or negative, that you're thinking of?
Actually, yes. My husband and I are both vaccinated, and our entire family actually ended up with COVID on the way back from Louisiana.
Wow.
We actually all survived. It's just the children, of course, that are too young to be vaccinated are the ones that was really affected because two of my daughters have asthma. So one of them kind of struggled a little bit at first, but she fought through it.
Wow, that sounds really harrowing.
Yeah, it was something else.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you're all with us. That's very cool.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right, so that's Tracy. We're glad to have you aboard. And now we're going to meet Shauna, who is next on my screen.
Hello. Hi,
Hi
everybody.
there.
I'm Shauna. Mark knows me.
Yes.
The past, very past.
It's been a while, hasn't it?
Yes, it has been a while. My son is 17 now and graduated high school, and my
Wow,
daughters are 12. And you knew me when I had no children.
that's
I'm
right.
gonna leave it like that.
Yeah, so, and you said your daughters or your daughter?
My daughters, I had twin girls.
Wow. And you're still speaking in full sentences.
Yes, I'm coherent, and I'm actually close to the weight that I was when you knew me. I did not blow up. Thank God.
Okay, all right. All right, so tell for people who don't know, what's your background in art? What are you doing with art these days?
So these days, I'm very I don't even know what the word is to say. I'm very disappointed in my education at Expression Digital Art College, and I'm sorry to kind of crash on the college, but don't ever consider going there or transferring there, please, unless you're in music, then it might be useful to you. But then you just got to be careful about the sliding scale with their rates because they're private and they can kind of do what they want to do. That's my little blurb on that. I'm still in debt from them. So I've tried to get 3 or 4 jobs with my bachelor's degree because I actually have a bachelor's in computer sciences and animation that I got while my kids were like infants. And it's ineffective because it's not locally accredited. It's regionally accredited or something like that. It's a whole bunch of mess. So I'm just here to refresh my skills and actually get something that I can actually use. And I've been doing art since I was 8. At first, I was just self-taught, but then I wanted to enhance my skills. And it's also genetic because my father is an artist and my kids picked up the art thing too, but they don't really want to do anything with it right now. I draw, paint, sculpt. I love figure drawing. I've done Pokemon when I was in high school and sold them for like 25 bucks, ceramic ones. So yeah, whatever art I try, I can do. That's just how it is.
That's great. Tell us about a COVID experience, positive, negative, or otherwise.
So positive, I guess, positive is kind of got a double connotation to it now, I guess. But so my daughter was attending school the last school year, and one of her staff members at her school, they were attending mostly during the pandemic because it was a private school, and they were following the protocols and everything. But one of the staff members actually had COVID, and I quickly yanked them, the twins, from the school. But the way they were responding to me was not making me comfortable, like when I was asking questions after the quarantine period. So I still kept keeping them. And then they didn't let me know. The parents were actually, one of the parents was actually kind enough to tell me that she and her daughter got COVID. And so I just kind of kept them until the last day, which was way beyond the quarantine time and when I could kind of know. And so it's just been this thing of back and forth testing
Right.
for my kids. Now they have been in summer camp. They went to summer camp without COVID. They came home without COVID because I had them tested both times. So it's just been a back and forth of the swab thing, the testing.
Right.
And we're holistic, and we have been doing everything that we can do. I'm not comfortable with the vaccination, especially after hearing the news about the Texas governor who actually had the vaccination, which was not the Johnson & Johnson, it was the other one, and he still got COVID. And I know 2 people personally that had the vaccination, and people in their household got COVID, and they all were vaccinated. So I'm just waiting until there's a little bit more studies. Also, I heard there was animal DNA inside the vaccination. And I have the research on that if anybody's interested. So yeah, that's my feelings about COVID.
Yeah, so those are interesting things. I hadn't heard that the Texas governor was vaccinated. I'm really surprised because he's vocal about anti-vaccination and anti-masks. So
yes, he was. I heard when he was being like, no masks. Now, as far as masking, I already told my kids we're going to be masking for the next 2 or 3 years. It just makes sense. I keep my distance from people. I go out when it's only needed. but I am a single breadwinner for the household. I'm a single mother, so I have no choice but to work. And then I am working part-time, but I try to get as much remote jobs or things that I can, you know, here at home. And I tell my kids to distance, and I'm like, you guys just prepare to do this for the next 3 years, 4 years, maybe 5. I said, this may be a new way of life, because we just want to be safe for people and be respectable and not infringe on people's personal bubbles.
Okay. So, and
The
it's great
vaccine
that-
doesn't necessarily protect you from getting COVID, but what it does do is make sure that you don't get hospitalized or die from COVID. So it protects from severe cases.
Right, and that's been the statistics on that so far. You know, everybody has to approach this with their own. You may find that some jobs won't be interested in you if you're not vaccinated. I think if you look at the broad statistics, what Jackie is saying is true, that vaccine is a significant protection. So it may be something, you know, I hope you're revisiting your thoughts on it as more information is available.
I am. I'm open-minded, but I'm very strong in my stance of being connected to my spirit and my soul. I have a very strong connection with my body. And right now I still have I even try to like talk to myself, and it's not comfortable right now, and I never will infringe. I've been in a domestic violence situation. I will never infringe anything that makes me feel the least bit uncomfortable. I will beat myself up forever. And some people may not be like me on that stance, but that's just how I am. I have to be comfortable for myself and my family.
I think you've brought up a lot of food for thought for people. And the other thing I want to say, Shauna, at some point, I'm going to be traveling for a bit, but I should be back I'll be back by September 8th. And I'd love to talk to you about your job efforts. I might be able to help, or just to offer some thoughts and suggestions about the lack of accreditation for your school and ways to work around that. So
that would be great. I would appreciate it.
Yeah, I'd love to do that. Okay, that's Shauna, and let's see, we're almost we've almost heard from everybody. We have 3 more. We have Kayla to start, and then Gabby and Valentina.
Hi everyone. So my experience with art, I've always been into painting, so I've done mainly acrylics, but then I moved into oils recently because I got some as a gift. I've gotten into making jewelry with clay, so like sculpting a little bit. And this summer I got to work at my local elementary school, and I was able to lead an art class there, which was really fun. So yeah, that's my experience with art.
Very nice. And a COVID related positive, negative, or otherwise?
I feel like the negative was probably having to finish high school at home.
Yes.
But I found distant learning, it was easier for me, I think. I was able to focus, so it was fine.
Yeah. I was saying in my other class, someone also had graduated this last year. And as awkward and strange and alternative as those graduations have been, I've been really impressed. Like my whole street, I live in Davis, and my whole street celebrated the 3 graduates we have on this street. And there were parades, and there was a distanced party, and there were presents and food. And, you know, in a way, it was much more of a celebration of their graduation than anything I ever experienced in a normal ceremony. But it is definitely worlds apart from what has been going on. So congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, so that's Kyla and Gabby.
Hello. I've been interested in art ever since I was like 5, maybe. I've always liked to paint. I've done a bit of sculpture too. But all over the place with art, I really enjoy it. It's like a way of expressing myself instead of orally or verbally. I like to use like a page or a notebook, whatever, as a way to express it. And I think this class is really interesting, so I wanted to take it.
Great, great. Okay, some COVID-related experience, positive, negative, or otherwise?
Same as Kayla said, I graduated this year, so it was a little different, I would say. I didn't expect it. I thought we would already be going back, but we didn't. So it wasn't really a negative. I don't really mind online school, but I would have enjoyed it in person. So
yeah, me too.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Great. Valentina, you get to finish us off here with your presentation of yourself.
Okay. I'm Valentina. I'm 22 years old. I'm from Colombia, so English is my second language. And I have always been interested in art. And like I always draw, paint, and lately in this pandemic situation, I have been starting to do digital art. The last semester, I started to take like animation class and boot camps like Photoshop or illustration. I have been taking like a lot of art classes in Solano when finding more professors. That's my experience with art.
Great, great. And Valentina, have you got a COVID story, positive, negative, or otherwise?
Actually, I start to work when all the pandemic start. So I have been just working.
Okay. All right. Well, it's great to meet you all. I just want to talk a little bit about the class, but first I should answer those questions as well. My background is primarily in sculpture and ceramics. You can see behind me lots of ceramics. This is not a fake background, that's a real thing. You could actually take a bowl. This is a Japanese tea bowl, and I can actually set it. See, I'm just proving it's not a fake background. I can actually put that up there. That's what we have here. So I have been working also, I think my serious involvement with art began when I was 12 years old. So I've been doing it for many decades. And by serious, I mean, I actually was creating art and selling it at the age of 12. I was doing welded sculpture. That's what I started at. And I've been doing sculpture and ceramics ever since. And probably about 2005, I published a book that I co-wrote with a Japanese artist. And it was all about this really special ceramics technique called wood firing. And there just wasn't that much information about it written coherently in English. And so since we wrote a really clear and thorough book, it went all over the world. So now I accidentally got known everywhere, and I'm invited to go all over the place. I've been to China and Germany and Denmark and France and many other places just because of this technique and because the book kind of established me as some kind of authority. So it's been a really great adventure, and I think that's what happens with art. I think if you commit yourself to something, anything really, whether it's Madeline plays the cello, some of you are into graphic arts, whatever you do and you stay doing, you get known more and more and more. And if you keep at it and don't go away, then the opportunities continue to grow. So that's my background. The only thing I'll say, one thing, we're in such a strange place right now because we were doing really well with vaccines for a while. That was working out. And then we started, we kind of plateaued on that, but we had this moment where things opened up again. And I got to tell you, the first time I could hug another person that wasn't my immediate family members was fantastic. I'm a hugger. I like to say hello to people. And so we've been doing that. And now we're kind of trying to figure out where we're at. And there's a lot of, now we don't know exactly when to wear masks, when to, now whether we're socially distancing. And I think that's where we're going. As Shauna said, she's telling her kids that we're going to be wearing masks for 3 years. And I think we're going back to that. So that's my little COVID commentary. So let's see. The other thing I want to, let's see, that's my kind of introduction. So let me just talk to you about the class here. We're delving into visual elements and design in 3 dimensions. That's the focus of the class. And there's really 2 aspects to the class. One is that there are projects. There's, I think, 9 projects that we do together. And each project is focused on some concept. Initially, there's a very, very simple project that I start with some lower demand projects, and then we get into more and more involved projects. The one that I really like is a very minimal project called Meeting the Artist Within, and it asks you to arrange 3 small squares on 3 larger squares, and you'll see that. It's very simple, but I hope you'll pay attention to how you make the decisions you make and what you try to do with it. It's very minimal constraints that you're working with, and then what do you make of it? And that'll be interesting. Every time you do a project, you place it, you put it in 2 places. One, you put photographs of your project in the assignment page for me to look at and respond to, and I'll send you a video response for every piece you do. And then there's a place in discussion. You post your pictures there and you answer the questions there, and everybody talks back and forth in those discussions. So that'll happen with every project. And the projects get increasingly more complex. The next one is, I think, texture, which is pretty simple. You just get 4 pieces of wood and you do texture and pattern on those 4 pieces of wood. And that's pretty straightforward. All the information is in your class and is covered really thoroughly. And then one of my favorite COVID related is that you make an art mask. You know, we have become one of the cultures that needs to be using masks. So many cultures across the planet use masks. We're using it to actually save our lives and be healthy and support each other. So the idea of what it's like to cover half your face, and visually, what does that look like? And what can you do? I'm thinking maybe if I could make a mask of hands, that might be interesting. So you're going to be asked to make an art mask, a mask for yourself. You can do 1 or 2 of them. And I'm just thinking, I found these things. I had these things. These are actually the vials that they use when they draw blood. And so I have a box of those, right? I have a box of those. And so I made a mask. I looked for it. I couldn't quite find it, but I made a mask by taking these vials, and I printed off the internet pictures. This is kind of a little sad, but I printed pictures of people who have died from COVID, and I put them in the vials. And then on the top of the vial, I hand screwed in these little eye screws. And then I sewed them on. I sewed about 70 of them on a mask. So they just kind of rained down on my face, all these little kind of clinking little vials with people's faces who died of COVID. And it was inspired by talking to people who refused to wear masks. And I would be in the presence of someone who wouldn't wear a mask. And I thought, you know, they'd give me all these reasons, and, you know, it's all fake. And I said, well, all these people died because, you know, of this. It's real. Anyway, so that was one piece I made. Another piece I made was I got a real American flag, and I cut a section of it so you can see some stars and some stripes, and it hangs down. The stripes hang down quite low. And I wrote in the white stripes, I wrote "A house divided, ... referring to the Abraham Lincoln quote about a house divided cannot stand. And that, for me, that was you know, I've been thinking a lot. I've done a whole sculpture series on that theme of a house divided. And I've really been thinking a lot about how divided this nation is and how we need to come together and somehow heal. And I don't know the answers yet, but I'm thinking about it and making art about it. So that's just an example of that 3rd assignment. And it goes on like that. And the assignments can get more involved. And I want to really encourage you to go as deeply as you can with each assignment, because that's a big part of the class. And what I would encourage you to do is think about it as when you're done, it would be something that you'd be happy exhibiting, or it'd be something that you'd be happy. You can't imagine living without it unless someone's going to give you some serious cash for it. Here's an example. Another assignment we have is assemblage, where you learn to deal with found objects. And this one's a little shocking, so I will preface that. So this is what it looks like. You can see, I always have something hanging. It's a reference to a thing called a plumb bob, because a plumb bob always points to the exact point below where it's hanging. So it's called a truing device. And I think in our culture, we need to know more and more about what's true. I'm going to show you the shocking part now. I didn't make this, but a friend gave this to me. If we go in close there, these were all the words that the Trump campaign in 2016 used to talk about my daughter. I have a 14-year-old daughter, and this is how Trump referred to the female gender during his campaign. It's terrible, it's shocking, and every one of these words was said by former President Trump. So a friend of mine gave me that. He took a piece of steel and wrote all those things down and handed it to me and said, this is what they said about my daughter. And so I use that at the core of this, this assemblage. And you'll learn all about assemblage, which is taking cast off and junk materials and building a sculpture. And this one hangs on the wall, but you can also do it so they just stand, or they're freestanding. So all of these projects have examples and instructions and videos in each of the sections that you'll be going through. So you'll be going through all these assignments. Some of them get quite conceptual, which I think is wonderful, because it exposes you to the potentials in art and the way that you can really grow as an artist and get involved in the world. The book that we'll be reading is called Launching the Imagination. And it's Launching the Imagination 3D. And this takes a little bit of explanation. In your on the home page of your class, there's a link to the used page in Amazon that has these. You can go, or it links to this, and then you click on used books. And that way you can get them from between $20 and $50, depending on how many sell at what time and what's available. But this book normally, I think, insultingly sells for like $160 in its most recent edition. We're using the 5th edition. I really have to emphasize that. You want to use the 5th edition. And the reason we're doing that is because there are enough of them used, and we can all work on the same book, which is important. All the quizzes are tied to the 5th edition. But the reason I'm doing used and 5th edition is because the price of this thing is obscene if you have to buy it new. And I will not put my students through that. I don't think you should have to be paying, it's basically, what's that?
Could we use a 3rd edition, or does it have to be 5th?
It should be the 5th edition. If you have the 3rd edition, we can have a call together and make sure that so Mary Stewart and her publishing company are pretty mercenary. So as they put out new editions, they move the chapters around to make it harder for us to be on the same, literally on the same page. So that's the problem with the editions. I'm trying to save money for us, yeah, they move chapters around. She rewrites it a little bit. It's a great book. All the editions are good. So if you read the whole 3rd edition, you'll literally get about the same information. The quizzes may be a little more confusing for you, and we can talk. And if you get your 3rd edition and I get my 5th edition, we can figure out which chapters got moved and where they are.
Oh, because I legally got the 3rd edition PDF. I don't know if you guys are interested in that.
Oh, that's interesting. You can get a PDF?
Yeah, of course, legally, quote unquote, legally.
Right, so it's out there. And it's got all the photographs in it and everything?
Yeah, I have it downloaded. I could just drop it.
Yeah, drop it in the chat for people. And we could take a vote and say let's use the 3rd edition. I may have to rewrite all the quizzes, but that's great. So
yeah, because I was spending like 3 hours trying to find the 5th edition without having to pay because I'm broke.
Right.
So I just found the 3rd edition only.
Okay, yeah, send us that link. And if you check the chat, you can see that Tracy has put up her link to her music, which is Black Ice SIYL 100 with a underscore between Black Ice and the SIYL 100. Check it out in the chat, and everybody should go check out that music. It's great to have a musician aboard. Okay, so yeah, and there's the PDF link. You can click on that, and oh, it's actually the PDF.
Yeah.
Great.
That's
Okay.
like, I think it has every single page.
Right. So let me save that here. Everybody click on that and save it on your computer. And we can agree to go ahead with the 3rd edition. I'll put out a note. I'll have to check it first to make sure it's got everything we need. But
yeah. But one thing I was looking at, there's only chapter 5 all the way down to chapter 12, which doesn't make any sense. Then I was trying to look for the glossary.
it does make sense in a way, because let's see, let me just check this out. Yeah, I think that's right, because chapter 5, so originally this came out as a book on 2 and 3D design. So
okay.
in the middle, between the 2 and 3D design, there's a section on creativity. So chapter 5, 6, 7, and 8 are all about creativity. Then chapter 9, 10, 11, and 12 are about 3D design. So 12, and I think do we go further than that? I think we do. Yeah, we got.
Yeah, it's not a link. You just download the file.
Okay.
You just download it to your computer, then open it. If you don't know how to open a PDF, you have to download Adobe Reader.
Right. All right, I'm just, let's see, I'm just trying to find a way to find out where I want to, oh, there it is.
Let me see. To open the file, you just gotta download Adobe Reader. Just go to your Google search, type in Adobe Reader, and there should be a download link for that software.
Right, okay. I'm just, the way that this is working, let's see. Okay, I'm just gonna put it on my desktop for now. And I'll check that out and I'll send you all a message about that. That's a great resource. Thanks, Rod.
No problem. I bought the book, but I noticed that your book is purple and the one I was looking at was green. Is there a difference between the colors?
Well, there is if you've got either the 2D version, or if you've got there's a book that is both 2D and 3D. And sometimes it's cheaper because it's got everything. The book that has everything in it has everything in it. So you can use the creativity section and the 3D design section. So I'm going to all this trouble because it's really a well-written book. It just infuriates me how mercenary she is about switching chapters around and putting out new editions and charging so much. I mean, this thing is basically the size of 2 New Yorker magazines, and they want like $170 for it or something. It's insane. So we're trying to subvert that any way we can. So it looks like Rod may have found a new level of subversion for us, which I appreciate. Questions, comments, thoughts about that?
Nope.
Okay, so to get through this class, the main thing is to keep coming and going to and working through. You start at the first module and you just work through the class. And then there are kind of due dates for all of these assignments and for the reading and the quizzes. And like I say, I'll go over Jorge's PDF and I'll switch things out for everybody to the other one if possible. Let's see what, so that's really the class, is doing the work on the projects and going through the reading and doing the discussions and the quizzes. The first part, the introduction, where you do a little intro to yourself and that sort of thing, gets us kind of warmed up and started, helps me figure out who's in the class. So do all of that. And then the other thing that's really important to know is if you have any questions, if you're running into any trouble, if something happens, Shauna, if your twins are suddenly involved in something, NBC wants to do a weekly situation comedy with your kids, your timing may be thrown off and you may need a little extension on a project or two, and you just email me and let me know. If there's a need, we can do a one-on-one Zoom call, or we can do a FaceTime, or anything you need, you reach out to me. I'm pretty good about returning emails. If it's the weekend, I'll return them on Monday usually. If it's I've been within about 2 hours for most of it, but sometimes it'll take up to 24 hours. For our next office hour meeting is on September 15th. So we have a 2-week kind of hiatus. We start up with office hours on Zoom on September 15th, and they are optional. So I'd love to see you. It's great if you just want to come and talk and hang out and share ideas, meet with each other. As artists, we need to have a community that we're working with. So you can do that. You can come and just talk with people, and that's great. You may have specific questions. We can work specifically with where you're at in the project, get feedback. Again, the guideline is go deep into it, find your inner artist, push as far as you can with each of those projects. That's what the goal is for you to really learn what it's like to work in 3 dimensions. If you need anything at all, you just write me. And in between now and September 8th, not now, but by the end of, I think next week, I'm going to teach a master class in Portugal. And I still will be able to respond to your emails. The only thing is that when it's 9 o'clock in the morning for you, it'll be 5 in the evening for me. So there may be a little bit of a lag, but it shouldn't be serious. And yeah, just write me with anything you have. And the good news is I'll come back with all kinds of images of the way things are done in Portugal. I'm landing in a town called Porto, which is named after port wine, which was invented there. And that doesn't bode well for me, but we'll see how that goes. So that's happening, and I will be available through my computer all the time. And so that's really a central message, is anytime you're having difficulty with anything, timing or an specific project or understanding something, you just send me an email and I will get back to you. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
Cool. Does anybody have any questions at all?
I do.
Yes, Tracy.
So which edition are we going to be using? Is it going to be the 3rd edition or the 5th, just to confirm? Because I haven't bought anything yet, so I just want to make sure.
Okay, I'm not sure. We might run into a legal challenge, but the idea that anybody's paying attention to us is kind of hard to believe. But what I would do is download this to your computer now. What Rod has put into our meeting, our chat, and then we'll find out what's that YouTube who put up the YouTube link? Let's see. Is that you?
Yeah.
Jorge,
just in case somebody doesn't know how to install it, they could just go to the
Oh,
YouTube
right.
link.
Oh, fantastic. Okay, so that's
Well,
easy.
where's the file download for the PDF file? Because this is just showing you how to install Adobe Acrobat Reader, and I already have that.
Right.
I'm not.
Up above that, Tracy, in fact, right after your link that you put up, Rod has put in the PDF.
I don't see anything after that. There's
in your chat.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Rod, you want to see if you can post it
Yeah, I'll
One more
post it
time.
again.
Let me see if it, I'm gonna check real quick and see if it,
Or I could just upload it to my Google Drive and you could download it straight from Google Drive.
oh, okay, that would be nice too, to have that option. Let me see if I was able to, let's see, let me put this over here. I just want to see if it's saved on my desktop. Let's see.
I think on iPhone you could download it too.
Let's see. Got a few PDFs here. It doesn't look like I was able to download it. Let
Let's see.
me try again.
There.
Oh, it already exists. Okay, so it says it's there somewhere. So let me see if I can find it this way. Sorry, guys, I'm just technically brilliant. You just can really see how I.
All right, I uploaded to my
There it
Google
is.
Drive. In case the download from Zoom is not working, I'm just gonna post it a new link from Google. And that you don't even have to download it. You just click on the link. You could just read it from the browser or download it.
Okay, so there's that as well. Is everybody following one of those two? The PDF did actually download onto my computer. So that's good news.
Mhm.
So let's go with the third, because again, with the interest of saving money, I think you all owe Rod like a Starbucks or something. He just saved you $50. So that's cool. I'm willing to roll with that. It does look like I will probably have to recraft some of the quizzes. So I will get working on that.
All right.
Okay, thoughts, comments, questions? All right.
Guess not.
Well, this has been a great meeting. Again, this is my, my social hit for COVID land. It's great to see you all. I'm really glad to be working with you. It's going to be a fantastic semester. I hope some of you find a sculptural groove and really get into this. But again, just put your all into these things, keep working on it until it sings all by itself. That's the plan of the sculptural thing. I have assemblages like this one hanging up. This one's hanging up over my desk, all over my house. We'll talk. You'll see I have several videos about assemblage artists, and then I have a couple of videos of me working on assemblage and talking about my thinking when I do assemblage. There's an assignment called, well, probably the most conceptual assignment you'll have is your final project. And it's kind of neat to be thinking about it in advance, just to know what's happening. So the last assignment is called Art of the Community or Social Practice Art. And it's a new field, relatively new field. It's been around for about 20 years now. And what its premise is that you don't use clay, you don't use wood, you don't use any material other than the relationship between people. So your artwork is to craft an experience that affects people's lives, and you're dealing with the idea that what you're doing is getting out into people's lives. That's your whole focus. And it may take no material at all. It may take, there's a project called Post Secrets that you have an example of. There's another project called Before I Die. You have an example of that one too to look at, all kinds of things. So you might want to kind of I'll see if I've released that. I haven't released that yet, but at some point you'll be able to look at that project, and it's a real good one to think about and cogitate and to use to your benefit. Like, you know, you can, if you have a passion, like somebody, say you wanted to like explore, get involved in Pixar or some other animation company, you could contact them and say, hey, I'm working on this project that's going to do this, this, or that, and I need to come visit and engage with you in the following ways. And it's I'm so sorry, I have to apologize. I have a really mean teacher and he's making me do this. And it's for my art class. Can you help me? That's a really good phrase. Can you help me? And you can use that, whatever your interest is, whatever you're passionate about, whatever you're curious about. Say you want to be a vet. You could come up with an art project related to veterinarians or people taking their pets to the vet, or, you know, who knows what your project could be. We had a student last semester whose boyfriend was in the Navy and was on a ship that was actually stationed somewhere, and she created a project that involved his shipmates drawing and writing and submitting it to her. So that was fabulous. That was really interesting. So the whole ship was doing art stuff, and she made that happen. So you guys can think about it. We'll have lots of chance to talk about it. So that's one kind, that's probably the most conceptual project we have, just to give you a taste of what's out there in the art world. Okay, any other questions and comments? I don't want to go too far over time.
Nope.
Okay, well, such a pleasure. Guys, we'll be at it. Stay safe, make art, and we'll be having a great semester together.
Cool.
Take care,
Thank you.
everybody. Bye-bye.
Take care.